What signals Delhi? Welcome back to ZalengamMedia, your channel for in-depth analysis, stories and updates on the complex and evolving realities of Northeast India. Today, we bring you a special feature that goes beyond the headlines. We are focusing on a story reported by Nagaland Post, where the GPRN NSCN, also known as the Unification faction, welcomed 11 new members from rival Naga nationalist groups. At first glance, it looks like just another induction ceremony. But if you peel back the layers, this small shift reveals the deep uncertainty, power struggles, and fragile balance that continues to define the Naga insurgency and peace process. According to Nagaland Post, this ceremony took place at Khehoi, the group's designated camp. 11 cadres from the UNPGN NNC under Khehoi officially pledged loyalty to the GPRN NSCN, led by Major Retired RM Lotha and Arto Kilansa N Kitovi Zhimomi. These 11 expressed their disillusionment with their former leadership, accusing them of immaturity, corruption, and a lack of vision. In joining the GPRN NSCN, they pledged allegiance not just to the leaders, but to the agreed position, the framework guiding peace negotiations with the Government of India. This might sound like a small movement within the militant map of Nagaland, but in reality, it reflects an ongoing cycle of splits, mergers and realignments that have plagued the Naga nationalist movement for decades. And more importantly, it raises serious questions about the future. Can these groups ever truly unify? And what does this mean for the long-awaited Indo-Naga peace settlement?
Okay.
Understanding the context of homecomers. The term homecomers is widely used within the Naga insurgency. It does not mean surrendering to the Indian government. Instead, it refers to members of one faction leaving their group to come home to another faction they feel represents the true Naga cause. In this case, 11 individuals left the UNPGN NNC under Khehoi and declared their faith in Kitovi's GPRN NSCN. According to Nagaland Post, the defectors said they could no longer tolerate visionless leadership. They accused their old group of being disorganized, self-serving, and even unethical. In contrast, they described GPRN NSCN as more stable, guided by a clear political roadmap through the agreed position. This is not an isolated event. Just a few months earlier, in June 2025, cadres from the Chang region defected for the very same reasons: loss of confidence in leadership, frustration at the slow pace of peace talks, and the desire for a more credible and pragmatic political direction. According to reports from the Morung Express, they too pledged loyalty to Kitovi and Lotha, echoing the same themes of disillusionment with ineffective leaders and optimism for the agreed position. Leadership crises and organizational shifts. At the heart of this constant cycle lies a simple problem: leadership crisis. Every faction claims to represent the Naga people, but many of them are divided by personality clashes, power struggles, and competing ambitions. The Unification faction itself has been deeply unstable. According to Ukral Times, in March and April 2025, there was even an alleged coup attempt within Khehoi camp, reflecting tensions between Neokpao and Kitovi supporters. When cadres defect, they are not just leaving one leader for another, they are making a statement that the movement is drifting. The accusations of immaturity, corruption, and selfishness from the new homecomers highlight a familiar pattern. Every time one group fractures, dissatisfied cadres look for a stronger alternative. This is why induction ceremonies like the one at Khehoi have symbolic weight. They showcase who currently holds the upper hand in the competition for legitimacy. The symbolism of Khehoi camp. Now let's focus on Khehoi itself. This camp is more than a physical location. It is the headquarters recognized under the ceasefire agreement with the Government of India. Its symbolic importance cannot be overstated. Whenever an induction ceremony is held at Khehoi, it is meant to demonstrate that the GPRN NSCN is still a central force within the Naga struggle. According to coverage by Verthly News, Khehoi has often been used as a stage for reunification efforts, where groups come together to pledge common purpose. But it has also been a flashpoint, contested during leadership battles, and sometimes destabilized by internal coups. The fact that the 11 homecomers were welcomed there is a deliberate message. Despite crises, GPRN NSCN remains the anchor of the Unification faction. Impact on peace talks. Why does this matter beyond factional politics? because peace negotiations with New Delhi require credible leadership and representation. The agreed position, signed between Naga groups and the Indian government, acknowledges the uniqueness of the Naga people and promises a special political arrangement within the Indian constitutional framework. But here, the problem: disunity weakens the bargaining power of the Nagas. If different factions keep defecting, splitting and rejoining, it becomes unclear who truly represents the Naga voice at the negotiating table. According to Times of India, the Government of India has extended the ceasefire agreements multiple times, hoping for a final settlement. But progress is slow, in part because factions cannot agree among themselves. The 11 cadres who joined GPRN NSCN see Kitovi's leadership as better positioned to push the agreed position forward. If this strengthens the group, it may indeed give them more leverage in talks. But if new internal quarrels erupt, the fragile momentum could once again collapse. Reactions and civil society's role. Civil society organizations across Nagaland have long called for unity. They know that endless factionalism only prolongs instability. According to Eastern Mirror Nagaland, stakeholders from churches to tribal councils have repeatedly urged groups to put aside personal ambitions and focus on the Naga people's collective future. So when these ceremonies happen, public reaction is mixed. On one hand, there is relief. At least some groups are consolidating instead of splintering further. On the other hand, there is skepticism. How long before these new homecomers also become disillusioned? How long before another power struggle leads to yet another coup or defection? Challenges ahead. The truth is, the challenges remain immense. The Naga insurgency is over 70 years old. Generations have grown up under the shadow of ceasefires, negotiations and factionalism. Defections like this highlight both the desire for change and the fragility of the movement. The GPRN NSCN will now need to prove that it can integrate these new members without sparking further tensions. It will need to demonstrate discipline, transparency, and genuine commitment to the peace process. If not, the cycle will repeat itself. There are also broader strategic concerns. Hardliners within other factions accuse groups like GPRN NSCN of compromising too much by supporting the agreed position. They argue that this dilutes the original nationalist demand. That ideological clash between pragmatism and hardline nationalism continues to fuel splits. A broader look at the northeast. The story of the 11 homecomers in Nagaland also reflects a broader regional pattern. Across northeast India, from Kuki to Meitei to other Naga groups, insurgent factions have entered ceasefires, split into rival camps, and struggled with leadership rivalries. According to NDTV, even the NSCN has faced internal crises and accusations of conspiracy when local tensions boiled over. This means the Naga case is not isolated. It is part of a larger picture where insurgencies are trapped between the old dream of sovereignty and the practical necessity of negotiation. The longer these internal struggles continue, the harder it becomes to present a united front for peace. Prognosis: what lies ahead? So what can we expect next? First, we are likely to see more defections. As long as leadership disputes continue, dissatisfied cadres will look for alternatives. Whether they go to Kitovi's GPRN NSCN, IM or other factions will depend on who appears most credible at the moment. Second, Khehoi camp will remain a crucial stage. Every induction, every meeting there is a performance of legitimacy, watched closely by Nagas and by New Delhi. Third, the peace process will remain hostage to factional unity. If GPRN NSCN can consolidate, it may strengthen the agreed position and push talks forward. But if divisions deepen, negotiations may stall once again. Conclusion: the induction of 11 homecomers may look like a small headline, but it speaks volumes about the current state of the Naga movement. It is a reminder of both the possibilities of unity and the persistent risks of disunity. According to Nagaland Post, the defectors pledged to work together for a pragmatic solution. If their words are backed by genuine reform and stable leadership, this could be a step toward long-awaited peace. But if old habits resurface, coup attempts, ego clashes, corruption, the peace dream will remain just out of reach. For the people of Nagaland, and indeed the entire northeast, the stakes are enormous. The struggle has already lasted decades. The future now depends on whether groups like GPRN NSCN can turn symbolic ceremonies into real transformation. Disclaimer from ZalengamMedia. This report is based on information available from credible news sources such as Nagaland Post, Morung Express, Ukhrul Times, Verthly News, and Times of India. ZalengamMedia does not endorse or oppose any faction or political movement. Our goal is to provide balanced, in-depth analysis so that our viewers can understand the complexities of Northeast India's political and security landscape. All opinions expressed here are analytical interpretations and should not be mistaken as endorsements. Call to action. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to like this video, share it with others who care about Northeast India, and most importantly, subscribe to ZalengamMedia on YouTube. Your support helps us continue to bring you clear, in-depth coverage of stories that matter, but often remain underreported. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next feature. Thank you for watching, and until next time, this is ZalengamMedia, bringing voices and perspectives from the ground to the world.